So I'm here with Froggatt, and Froggatt's a really nice little pony, although he's a bit sensitive to being clipped, particularly on the leg. Now, you might ask, why would I be doing this bit of filming up here on the concrete? Well, the reason is that it's slightly slippery, so it discourages movement. So it's a little trick that I've used, and it does work with some horses. It doesn't work with every horse. If it doesn't feel safe to be doing it up here, for instance, if I had a horse that might be a bit reary or a bit silly like that, then I definitely wouldn't be doing it desensitizing on concrete. But for a horse that wants to shift around and be a bit fidgety, it's not such a bad thing. Now, I know a lot of people, when they're doing clipping, like to do it in a stable. Now, I would put a bit of a warning to those of you that are doing their desensitizing in a stable. It's like anything. If you put something that's scared in a corner, then there is a chance that they'll submit, but there's also a chance that they become defensive and even aggressive. So be really warned about doing the desensitizing and restricting a horse's movement and making them feel claustrophobic, because that can be an outcome. Again, not always, but sometimes. And also I find working in spaces like that, a horse can push you into a wall and do those sorts of things. So your environment is very important, is what I'm saying. So before I start this process, I haven't done any groundwork with Froggatt at all. So it might be that, and I don't know how bad his clipping issue is, so we're going to see front and center how I manage this. So to start this, I'm going to just walk a few small circles. So I want to see both the hind legs moving more almost, which is great. And then I'm going to go the other way. Walking those circles. He's moving too much of his front legs now, so I'm going to keep going, walking this circle until his back legs start. There's a good step there. I can come out of that a little bit again. I'm just going to go into that circle again. There goes his back leg again. I don't know whether you guys could see that, but horses will be really pushy and walk over you a lot if, when you're walking that circle, the front legs are travelling further than the back legs. So I don't know whether you can get a shot of that, Kerry. We'll see if we can just see him moving. So there's the back legs moving, good. Yeah, and that's a much better. And there's the front legs starting to move a little bit more. Front legs again, there goes the hind legs. Great. Now you might be asking, why on earth is he doing that? Well, a couple of reasons is I want to know that if he does get worried, again, like we did when I was riding Abel, I spoke about being able to do a circle. Again, it's a really useful tool on the ground. But more than that, I just want Froggatt here to feel the surface that he's on. Horses are not silly, and they will do anything not to fall over. So I'm just giving him a feel and letting him know you're on concrete, it's not great ground, so think about that. Okay, then I'm just going to check to see how sensitive he is to this. How do I check how sensitive he is to it? Well, I start walking away from him. So I'll turn it on, see how sensitive he is to the noise. So a little bit sensitive. I can see snorting a little bit. I'm reading some signs there. And he's a little bit tense, but you can see the concrete's sort of starting to work. You can see the concrete. He's a bit sort of unsure of his feet. Or a bit, not unsure of his feet, he's being very sure of his feet. He's been quite careful. Now, I forgot to introduce my desensitizing object. I think Oral-B make them. Okay, so I use these to start horses getting used to clippers. There's also apps. There's clipper apps where the phone vibrates and makes the noise that you can use as well. All sorts of little things. But like with all desensitizing, start with something that's easy, a little bit smaller, and mobile is important. You don't want to be trying to clip your horse with cords everywhere, because your horse will stand on them or they'll get away from you, and it ends up with broken gear and horses learning bad habits, all sorts of things. So this is a great little substitute and a place to start. Okay, so I've just introduced it, and I'm finding I don't even know whether I'm going to get to his body, let alone his legs, which is what I intended to show you. But anyway, we're desensitizing nonetheless. So let's just go through stage 1 again. So he's had a little think. I've stopped, chatted to you guys, he's reflected, and we'll just see what he's thinking about that again. So we might even just do our little circles again. So he's swapped sides, so I'll just do our little circles. Keep him that side, I'm on the inside of the circle. Now I'm walking away, but I'm walking away in a little circle. And he's looking to actually stop a little bit there. See what he's doing with his body and his head? His head is going away and his body is coming to me. That is exactly what horses, ponies do when they are about to bomb off. So I don't know whether he's ever done that before, but he's in the right shape that if I pushed that, so if their head goes away from you and their body comes towards you, that is where you could lose them. If you see that sign, then you need to correct that bend very quickly or take away whatever is causing that bend, one or the other. So let's go the other way around. So I'm working this side, so I try to stay this side. So we'll turn it on again and we'll just walk a circle. Good. And get him used to the idea that, and then we'll stop again up here. So I am walking away, it's just that I'm in a smaller spot. And then we turn it off. Have a breath, mate. This is what I feel like. He's thinking, where is that thing that's making that noise? This is it here. It's not something he's particularly going to be scared of to touch, because it's no bigger than my hand. But with the noise and vibration, he has an association with it, and he's a little bit worried. So, again, oh, sorry, I nearly dropped it, my bad. So again, I'll go into that circle. Let me rub over with it, it's all down. This is what... Okay. He's thinking, I can't see it, or I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm just checking contact all round. So again, that contact is really important. Stage 3 of the desensitizing. Okay, so we're just bolting that one on, walking around again. And I'm looking for that movement just to go a bit quiet. Now there's that defensive movement again. He's moved into me with his head away. Sorry, you might be getting a bit of wind interference there. There he goes again. He's moving into me. And I'll just move the hind end out of the way. So I've just got this. I don't know whether you can hear it now. I've got this winding away. I'll just put it here. That's what it sounds like. Okay. And we'll just turn it off. There's that thing that I'm not happy about. So all I do is just correct that. Follow me. So yes, on this side, he's wanting to bend that way. So that's what I've got to be a bit careful about. Yeah, he's a little more sensitive to this than I was led to believe. Again, he's moving around again. I just use that circle to my advantage. Get some good touch on him. And if you notice, just so you see, this is really the process that I want you to get when you're working down a horse's body. So once you get contact here, you can keep the contact and it's quite reassuring. However, when you start to work down a horse's leg, desensitizing is done differently. It's done by going down and off. because of the response horses give you when they get worried about something on their legs. It can be dangerous. So if you try and leave something on there until they stop moving or they just go, oh, it's okay, it's not hurting me, in the meantime, they could strike or kick. So when you're desensitizing down the body, it's really important to go down and off, down and off. At the point you feel like it's too much, come down, come up to where they're more confident, start up here again, go down till you find where they start to lose their confidence, come off, and just do it in a piecemeal fashion like that. It's because that's how a horse responds to inputs, or particularly flight, in that part of the body, anywhere under here, the lower part of the body, and sometimes the head as well is a good approach, sort of more of a there it is and I'm gone type thing. Okay, so let's see if we can move on a little bit from this stage. We may or may not be able to, because I don't know whether you guys can hear it, but he's a little bit snorty and a little bit tense about this whole thing. So as we start to go into it, he may take a few days to really get used to it, but we're just going to go through. Concrete seems to be helping. Okay, there's too much front, there goes the back, walk away. Okay, little rub over and little rub there. There's that move. I don't want that move there. Head away. So I'm just going to walk him around. There it is again. Head away there. And now I have it on him now. My hand, see? It's not actually touching him, but there's a very small vibration through my hand, and it's just the next step that I take from just rubbing him over to there, and then I can turn it over, and now it's on, as you can see. And this, I want him to start to get comfortable. Horses start to like this. It's sort of like a massage. So there we go there. And we're working the top part of the body. Good. So yeah, he is okay, actually, on the body. He's not too sensitive, but we'll see how he is as we work our way down the body, because I think this is where we start to run into trouble. Let's check the other side quickly, and can't stress enough, watch the shoulder coming to you and the head moving away. Be very, very careful of that. Okay, let's have a look this side. Let's pop it on. We'll work the circle a bit. He's going backwards, you don't want that. There goes the hind end. Being a little bit quick. Okay, a little bit of contact. On with the hand. Okay, come round me, mate. Rub. And off. Okay. So, we can keep going through that process, and Froggatt here is going to start to get calmer, is going to move less and become more confident. If I try and confine that and really hold him and stop him from moving, I will do the opposite. So we have to be a little bit aware of that. So I've got someone just trying to sneak through off camera. All right, let's have a look at the legs now and see how we go with that. So there it is on. So as I work my way down the legs, it's there and off. There and off. There and off. Good. And with the back, there and off. There and off. Now I'm doing this relatively quickly, because if I leave it still, as with in the desensitizing process, when I have something hovering, the anxiety builds until I've got to do something with it, which inevitably, when it's down there, is going to be a kick or something like that. So I'm moving quick and it's off before the anxiety reaches a point where they have to react. So we're on again. There. We're going down the leg a little bit further this time. A bit further this time. Now, as my horse gets better with this, I can start to go a little slower. A little slower. Now I'm at clipping speed, and that's what I'm gravitating to. If he walks, I just continue doing this until he stops, or until even some horses will just be lifting their foot a lot. I will just continue doing it until such time as I go down once and their foot stays on the ground. When it stays on the ground, I stop, move to another leg. And in a day or two or three, you'll find your horse will say, well, if I leave my foot here on the ground, you'll stop doing it. And sure enough, they'll be right. And then they'll get confident because they realise, I don't even have to lift my foot up. That's all a waste of energy. So they come to that realisation that it isn't a threat. Okay. Generally speaking, the most difficult leg to do is the right hind. It can be. So just what I've found in doing this, if horses have problems being shod and that sort of thing, it's generally always a little bit worse on the right hind. So it's worth just spending some time there. We'll see how we go with the right hind now. Just as an example. So it's on again. He's moving around. And I'm straight into this process. There, down. I've got my rein, his head towards me. I'm moving, and because I'm allowing him to move, I'm not down the leg I go and off. Down the leg I go and off. Slower. There. Perfect. So that is where I'll start. And how do I know when he's ready to clip? Because I'll be able to move my dummy clippers at a clipping speed and be able to change and stay there for a bit longer. The introduction to the clippers, so I'll build from this. I'll get my portable clippers, and then I'll get some actual mains clippers as well and use those. But by the time I get to the mains clippers, he'll almost be wanting me to clip him. It'll just feel nice. So I was just going through this process until you don't get that initial, what do you got? And they actually get a bit gooey doing it, because they do when they get used to these sort of things. It's like a massage. So this could take a few days for young Froggatt, but he's not too bad. So there we are, guys. A few tips for this month. Have a little bit of a look at that. If you've got a horse that needs to do a bit of desensitizing, you've now got a plan. For those of you that don't, log it down, because it's a really useful tool to have. All right, see you again soon.